Blog Talk Radio.
Unmarket Your Business, the podcast, born out of the need to share strategies and techniques that really work to market your business. Think yellow page ads and cold calls are your only choices? That's so last century. You're about to learn tested, tried and true marketing techniques you can apply and master, ones that feel authentic instead of salesy, strategies that are true to who you are and how you want to present yourself to your ideal clients. Let's join our host, Carol Joyce Dunlop, in the studio now and allow business success to move forward. Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? I know it sounds funny for me to say morning. I usually say afternoon, but it's my podcast, so we can do it any kind of way we want. And I wanted to definitely get this episode out, and we had some glitches before, and now we're here. I have a very special guest waiting online, and we are going to get to Christie in just a second because I'm so anxious. I'm always anxious to hear from people who have the same mindset that I do, and that is podcasting is awesome and that they use it. So I can't wait to speak with her in just a second. But before we do, I want to let you know that today's podcast is sponsored by the Closing Academy. Now that you have marketed your business, it's time to close the sale. The Closing Academy teaches entrepreneurs how to ask for the sale. We believe that sales is a teachable skill. Download your free e-guide, Top 10 Selling Secrets for People That Hate to Sell, at their website, www.theclosingacademy.com. Now, we're on to what we're doing this morning. I hope everyone had a great 4th of July holiday. Probably some people are still recovering. I know I am just a little bit, and I hope you're staying out of the heat. But we're going to start our day off with some things about how to get your business marketed, how to improve with sales, and how to get a new podcast going, or how to get the old one that you got going revved up. And online to tell us all about it is my special guest, Christie Walters. Hey, Christie, how you doing?
Well, good morning, Carol, and thank you so much for accommodating me this morning.
Oh, no problem. You know, it's live radio, podcasting, or whatever, and it happens. And I love doing it live because you just never know what's going to happen.
That little bit of suspense and mystery is what you love, right?
That is it, because you never know, like this morning I couldn't call in just on time. My technology was acting up a little bit. That's why I came on a little bit late. And I've had guests that drop and stuff happens. But, hey, it's all about, just the experience.
It's about the engagement too, right, Carol?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the thing that you and I've talked about a couple of times, is that it's all about the engagement, and the more authentic and just in the moment that you are, the more people relate to it.
That is so true, because, I tried doing, and I know we're getting off a little bit, but that's cool, and I'll allow you to introduce yourself.
You wouldn't be having a conversation with me if we weren't off on a tangent, so.
Oh, well, cool, good, that's good to know. But I had tried doing a podcast for a little bit where you could record it, and then you upload it, and you know what? I never could get the thing done. Like, I'd always record it, but something would happen with getting it uploaded, or I'd find too many oohs and ahs and ums and silence, and I was always trying to put all this stuff in. I hated it. I'm like, let's just go with how it is. However it turns out, let's just do it. And I thrive that way, so here's to being authentic to yourself. You got to do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. I love it. I have a coach that tells me at times, because I have a little bit of a perfectionist saboteur that hits me from time to time, and she said, imperfect means I'm perfect. It is the perfect way. So there's just so much power in that statement, right?
It is. So now that we've chit-chatted a little bit, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience, tell us a little bit about you, and then we're going to get into the meat of what we're talking about so we can help some others feel authentic like we do, because People need a lot of help.
Yes, I love it. Sure. So I am a sales and small business coach. At the heart of my business, I spent 25 years in the corporate space running sales and marketing teams and primarily worked with small businesses. And I just had such a passion for so many businesses that I saw that I knew needed someone with my experience, but just couldn't necessarily afford to hire someone at my level to come in and work with them. And I just knew there was a way for me to do that on a consistent basis. And I started my business 3 years ago, walked out of the corporate space and started it cold, which is a terrifying experience. But I have never looked back. It's such a rewarding. It's just such a rewarding type of work to do, and to see other people recognize their dreams and really take that to fruition and flourish. I mean, I think there are a lot of small businesses out there that just struggle day in and day out, and so I think helping them realize this is not an isolated place to be, that you can create a team and a support system, and that there's a lot to be gained from being in small business today. And I'm also a fellow podcaster. I have a podcast called The Why and the Buy, and it is all about sales and leadership. And I have a partner in Detroit. We do record, I will say, and a part of that is because we are we're separated by several states, and then we have a producer that just kind of wraps it up in a nice, neat package and puts it out there for the world to see. And we let the ahs and the ums and and my gosh, I can come up with so many isms. My daughter tells me I'm the queen of the idioms these days, but I just go with it, right? It is what it is, and we are authentic and real, and our guests are authentic and real, and we have a great time. I think that's the other piece of it, is that we just have fun.
I know, I've listened to it. You guys do. You both do have a great time, and your voice is soothing. I think that makes a difference when your voice is soothing and you're covering a subject that people want to know more about, and you just have fun doing it. And I wanted to say the one podcast that I worked on, and I worked on it for over a year, that we recorded, it was just 3 people. And you're right. It's much easier to record something and then fix it and then go forward instead of trying to wait for everybody to be there live and then put out. That is a headache. But when I do stuff for me just by myself, you know how we are. We're like, let's change this whole thing.
Girl,
I love that what you said.
You.
I'm perfect. I know. It's so crazy. All right, so tell me, what does a sales coach actually do? Does it mean you sit in front of me and you teach me to close that thing no matter what, or are you nice?
Well, no. You know what? I am the benevolent sales coach. So in fact, I wrote an article not too long ago that the worst sales advice I've ever heard is always be closing. I hate Glenn Ross. That movie has created this persona of what salespeople are that is not true. And a lot of people, I think, in good spirit use those terms to motivate sales teams. But in essence, I think sales is an act of service. And if you are really passionate about what it is you do, and small business owners, I know, Carol, you operate in this space quite a bit. Small business owners they just embody everything about what they do, and so passion is just part of our being. And and if you're passionate about what it is you are selling, Zig Ziglar said that you have a moral obligation to the world to share that. That's an act of service, not an act of manipulation, not an act of domination. So a lot of times, Carol, I end up spending almost as much time with people shifting their mindset around sales, shifting their mindset about what it means to ask for a sale or to ask for payment. A lot of people that are in the services business, freelancers, coaches, people that give of their time find it very difficult to ask people for what they're worth. And so shifting your mindset around that so that you can really get a sense of, you're not asking for a favor. You're giving value, and that has value to your client, and your client, that's the currency that we apply. And so what a lot of people will make a decision on behalf of a prospect. Like they'll be like, oh, well, they probably don't want this bigger package. They'll make that decision for them without ever even involving the prospect at all. So it's a lot of mindset work, but it is also accountability. So it's saying, it's the smallest changes make the biggest difference, and that nothing is bigger and nothing is truer in sales than that. And that's that consistent, persistent action every single day, a little bit at a time, is the stuff that makes the difference. If you want to grow your business by 25%, then you look at what you bring in on a daily or a weekly basis, and you grow that by 25%. That's a lot easier to look at and get your head wrapped around than looking at the entire year or looking at a 5-year mark, right? So it's really kind of getting people out of their heads a little bit when it comes to sales.
I'm glad you said that, because a coach that I worked with, Wendy Y. Bailey, she said sales is a conversation. That was a game changer for me, because I've been through a lot of sales training. I mean, I was in the fitness industry for over 15 years, so all the sales things you can think about, I went through that training, how to do clothes, how to look for the clothes, how to da-da-da-da-da. And I just hated that stuff. Oh, my God, I hated that. But when you really look at it.
Well, because it feels contrary to who you are, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you feel like you're trying to shove something down somebody's throat or sell them, make them buy into something they don't need. But the thing is, if they're coming to you and they're interested in what you do or what you sell or the service that you have, then they do need your service. And if you have a solution for them, like you said, it is your duty and responsibility to show them how your service can help them improve their life in some kind of way. We may not think that a can opener is going to help somebody improve their life, but it really, really will. Now you can open this can without killing yourself. So you have to think of whatever your service is as doing that. And you have a conversation with people to see, what it is they need, how they're going to use it and stuff. And then you make your offer. Hey, this is what I have, this is how much it is, type of thing. I know there's more to it than that, but it's one of those things where you have to get past that, oh my God, I'm being sleazy or I'm bilking people, because it's not true,
Well, and you clued in on the key element there, and that's you find out about them before you talk about yourself. And that's where a lot of people, especially people who are nervous about selling, they get mixed up because they get nervous, and then we kind of get that diarrhea of the mouth, is what my mom used to say, where you just talk to get past it, and you've lost them, right? Because you're not focused in on what they need. Because here's the reality. Not everybody's going to need what you sell. And that's okay. Yep. There's nothing wrong with that. It's better to go and find those people, be intentional, and be truly curious about what it is that they value, understand what the end result is of utilizing your product or your service, and then approaching the sale from that perspective. And then what it becomes, just like your coach said, it's a conversation. It's a chance to get to know another human being. That's all a sales conversation is. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. You are getting to know people because you do sell to people. You don't sell to logos. You don't sell to mission statements and all that. You sell to real people. So if they like you, if they trust that you're going to do what you say, if they know they have a lot of information about what you're doing, then more than likely they'll buy. But you're right, and then everybody on the planet is not going to buy your stuff, so you can't really market to everybody on the planet. You got to bring it down.
That, right? How overwhelming would that be?
Right? I know, we got to market to everybody. Oh, my God. We would think in our heads that it would be great, but it really wouldn't be. It'd be a nightmare we couldn't even do.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk more about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk more about that in just a second. Okay. We're like, okay, we got to get it all out. which is fun. But we're going to talk more about that in a second, plus your why and the buy. We just have to take a quick short break for our sponsors. So everyone out there, I want you to meet me in the Poconos in September for the Lift Conference 2018, because the Lift Conference is the premier conference for faith-based women in business and ministry. They're going to provide the tools and the strategies to take your business to the next level. Now, here's what you can expect. I was at the Lift Conference in 2017. I actually spoke there, and I've been working with Renelli, Kim, and Donna, who are the founders and the visionaries of Lift for the last 3 years when they first started this whole thing. So you can expect praise and worship to begin each day, confirming our foundation in God. You can expect speakers who are dominating in their field of expertise, ready to pour into you. And you can expect 2 days of power-packed information you can implement in your business and ministry right away, plus a platinum VIP day like no other. So if you're ready to get your ticket right now and find out more about Lift, go to www.lift.con2018.com. Again, that's lift.con2018.com. So head on over there, and I will meet you in the Poconos. Okay, now, Christie, I wanted to talk to you about why you started the Why and the Buy podcast. So tell us all about that.
Oh, okay. Sure. So it's an interesting story. So my partner, Jeff Bajorek, and I are both trained to sell Jeffrey Gitomer's workshops. So if you're not familiar with Jeffrey Gitomer, he wrote a very popular selling book many years ago called The Little Red Book of Selling. And he's had many other books that he's written over the years as well. And so when I started my business, I wanted to have some workshops that I could teach, but I didn't really want to build content. And so I went up to Charlotte and studied with Jeffrey. Jeff was at that same retreat. And we just hit it off. We were talking about issues with our business and things that we wanted to accomplish. And one of my biggest concerns was that I love having these conversations, but I am not a very consistent writer. And that was very much that perfectionist saboteur just wreaks havoc with writing for me. And so the conversation he and I had was like, gosh, we had these incredible discussions about our business and the things that we are authentically challenged with. What if we just shared that? And then that becomes content. So for me, the podcast was content development. I wanted something that I could share with someone who didn't know me, and it would allow them to get to know a part of me. How I think, how I interact. You talk about, Jeff and I have a lot of fun on the podcast. Sometimes we're a little irreverent and that's fun, but there's a certain tribe of people that will connect with that. And I wanted to allow people a way to get to know me and connect with me without necessarily feeling like they had to call me and ask for help with their business. So, and I guess you can say the rest is history, because that was a year and a half ago. We're 125 episodes in to the podcast, and we have interviewed some really big names in the sales and leadership space. We've also interviewed some folks that are just doing cool things in our communities, and we have had such an incredible time. We've been invited to conferences. We actually just were added on to Jeffrey Gitomer's Sell or Die Network, and we'll be on his podcast on Monday. So it's a lot of fun stuff. But, the interesting thing for us is that we didn't care about numbers. We weren't looking to build millions of followers. We didn't care about downloads. What we wanted was content. And it was that ability to let go of some of the metrics and just do what felt right for the time made the biggest difference. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And congratulations on your success, because the thing is, 125 episodes is a lot. People don't understand how much it takes to do this, every week or however often you do it, and to just stay consistent with it. That's great.
Yes.
That's great. So, what is the biggest lesson that you've learned from having the podcast?
I think staying true to your purpose. One of the things, so I mentioned the fact that, we really didn't care about followers or downloads or anything like that. But there were those times where I was sneaking a peek at our listen count. And I was like, whoa, we're 50 downloads behind from last month. And, and it was great to have a partner in that sense, because we would remind each other that, hey, we're not doing this for that. We're not looking we're not looking to build a business on sponsorships. What we want is potential clients to connect with us and engage with us. And that's the other cool thing, is that we've had really cool people engage with us. We do live video book club discussions every month now. We have this whole community or kind of core tribe of people. We started a small business breakthrough club a couple of months ago, and that's going phenomenally. I think that's really going to be a growth area for us. So we kind of stayed purpose of creating content and connecting with our audience, and then we let everything else just happen. So I think that's probably the biggest lesson. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I love that. And I've listened to a couple of episodes, but I've been, how you do. You mean to get more, so I need to put you on my list so it's automatically coming up, so I can listen to it. Because I love your
try
content.
the Monday musings. Yeah, those are a little shorter.
Yeah.
So those are good ones. Yeah.
I think that's how I found you. at first, the Monday Musing, and I was listening. I can't remember what it was, and I was like, "Oh, she sounds cool. I need to get her on my podcast."
Yeah.
And talking about the talking about how social media works. I think you were presented in my feed. I listened to your podcast. I connected with you, and then now you're on this podcast, and that's so cool. How you can go from not knowing anyone. Ooh.
Well, and here's the other interesting thing, too, Carol, is that you and I have several people in our network in common. People that,
I know.
There are people that I work with. We've got Mike Pitcher and Anita Henderson and Stacey Ruth. Right? So there's so many that are part of our core networks. But it wasn't until we connected on something that was of interest to both of us that we got to know each other. So it's such a small world when you really really think about it.
And it's all about connections, because even though you're connected, and I recently found out you are connected to June Klein, who's been a client of mine for a while, and also Lori K. Stone. So all those people. Oh yeah. And we didn't know each other, but it's like building that relationship and getting to know you and talk to you. It's like, oh, I know her, because I saw June in the video that I was working on for you. I was like, I know that head anywhere, that hair. I know that head and that hair. And that is June Klein. And then she turned around. I was like, it's June. And then I saw Lori K.
Klein, like, that's right.
Wow. I think that's totally awesome. It just speaks to being willing, being open, being able to reach out from where you are and just get to know somebody. And you never know, because I know if you know all those cool people, I know you're totally cool anyway, right from the start.
Well,
okay,
I
wanted to.
Go ahead. I like to be great by association. That's for sure.
For real. So tell me what a couple of tips you can give someone who's getting ready to start out their own podcast, and what would you tell them? And then I want you to tell us how we can get in touch with you, and then we're going to let you go on with your morning.
Okay, perfect. So I was thinking about this before we got on the call, and I did a talk not too long ago on 10 reasons a small business owner should think about starting a podcast. And I wanted to narrow that down. And I shared this a little bit already. I think the number one thing I would say is connect with why you're doing this. What is the intent behind the podcast, first and foremost? Because that's going to help you drive decisions down the road. So when you start to see shiny objects flying by, you'll be able to deal with that. Forget the numbers in the beginning, because here's the reality. It's not going to be perfect, and your tribe is not going to magically show up. So don't get obsessed with the numbers in the beginning. Just let that go. And then I think the third thing I would say is don't forget about making your own guest appearances. So the podcast community is still really small. And one of the biggest things that has had impact in our following has been connecting on a consistent basis with other podcasters. So doing what you and I are doing right now, Carol, that's important as well, because you have to continue to tell your story outside of your network. So, so that's an important element. So I think those are my 3 top ones for anybody starting a podcast.
Well, those are awesome. I love those, especially about getting on other people's podcasts, because you're introducing yourself to someone else's audience, and they get you at a nice conversational, piece, and they can kind of listen to you, connect with you, and say, oh, I know her, I like her. Let me go see what she's doing. And then before you know it, they're probably a client of yours, or at the very least, they're a follower. So I love that.
Well,
so, how do we get in touch with you?
Absolutely. And one quick point on that is that I think every single appearance I've made, I've had a client come from it. So, I mean, it pays off.
That's huge.
So to get in touch with me, I will give you a couple of ways. You can go to my website, and it's ChristieWalters.com. That's ChristieWalters.com. And then I'm happy to take a phone call. So 770-687-6678. Again, that's 770-687-6678. So one of those 2 ways will get to me. The podcast is called The Why and the Buy. And that's thewhyandthebuy.com. That's WHY and BUY. So those are the best ways to find me.
Oh, awesome. And I have to tell everyone listening, the podcast is awesome. You need to listen to it. You'll get a lot of great information in a nice, easy to listen to, easy to digest, easy to implement way. So go out there and do it. So, Christie, thank you so much I'm glad we finally got this together. I know we had a couple of hiccups, but thank you so much for making time available, for coming on. It was great. It was great meeting you, talking with you. So, it's just been good. It's good. It's been good.
Excellent.
So, thank you so much. All right, everyone, that is our show for today, and I want to remind you that today's podcast was sponsored by the Closing Academy. Now that you have marketed your business, it is now time to close that sale. We've been talking about it all this time. The Closing Academy teaches entrepreneurs how to ask for the sale. We believe that sales is a teachable skill. Download your free e-guide, Top 10 Selling Secrets for People That Hate to Sell, at www.theclosingacademy.com. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Thanks, Christie.
Thanks, Carol.
Thanks for listening. We truly appreciate it. For information about guests, products, or services that were mentioned in this episode, log on to our website at www.csicorporation.com/unmarketing. To learn more, get a glimpse of our upcoming schedule, and join the unmarketing nation of entrepreneurs who are using marketing techniques that work right now. Until next time, keep moving forward.
Football is my dream.
For Spencer James,
I want you to come play for me.
Beverly Hills, huh?
Yes, sir.
The whole game is about to change.
I don't belong here. This is your way out.
From executive producer Greg Berlanti comes the new show inspired by the incredible true story.
I'm asking you to play for something bigger now.
Because when you do, you'll be unstoppable.
Run for your life. All-American. Series premiere right after the season premiere of Riverdale. Tonight on the CW.
It all starts at 8 p.m. Riverdale, followed by All-American, only on Pix 11, the CW.
Football is my dream.
For Spencer James,
I want you to come play for me.
Beverly Hills, huh?
Yes, sir.
The whole game is about to change.
I don't belong here. This is your way out.
From executive producer Greg Berlanti comes the new show inspired by the incredible true story.
I'm asking you to play for something bigger now.
Because when you do, you'll be unstoppable. Run for your life.
All American. Series premiere right after the season premiere of Riverdale. Tonight on the CW.
It all starts at 8 p.m. Riverdale, followed by All American, only on Pix 11, the CW.